All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are closing in on debate time, and it's going to be interesting. We've been told that all of Donald Trump's adult children and his wife, Melania, will be in attendance, and we've been told that Chelsea Clinton has taken time out from running the Clinton Foundation, and her husband will be there for Hillary. I have seen no mention of Bill Clinton, so I have no idea whether or not he'll be there. Jennifer Flowers will not be there, apparently. There was some talk that in answer to Hillary having Mark Cuban sit in the front row, Donald Trump said, all right, then I'll bring Jennifer Flowers and some others, but that apparently was just a stunt. There will be at least one Gold Star mother in attendance, and that's Karen Vaughn, who lost her Navy SEAL son, Aaron Carson Vaughn, on August 6, 2011. So maybe he will mention her. We don't know. Joining me right now, I know who's here. Matt Kibbe, president of freethepeople.org and former founder and president of FreedomWorks. He is on Skype. There he is, and he is at Hofstra. Also joining us, Noelle Nikpour, Republican strategist, political consultant, and author of Branding America. All right, I know ladies first, but because Matt, all right, it will be ladies first by force, because Matt's Skype just went poop. You could hear that little poop. So we'll try to get him back up from Hofstra, the site of tonight's debate. So Noelle, welcome. And what do you think we will see tonight when we're all finished watching this? What will we come out with?
I think it's going to be nitpicked to death. I think there are so many people, there are pundits galore, such as myself, that are going to be taking notes because there are going to be shows tomorrow and we want to get out in front and have our opinions on it. I think it is anyone's guess because you're dealing with mainly one predictable character, and that's Donald Trump. So we don't know how Hillary is going to act in the debate because it depends on which Donald Trump shows up to the debate.
So you think, okay, so you think that's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of talk that Donald Trump will start out, relatively calm and collected and cool and presidential, so to speak. But then when he's zinged by either Lester Holt and or Hillary Clinton, it'll begin to get under his skin, and we might see, so we might see both in the same debate.
Here's what I will say, though. Lester Holt, it could work for Trump if he hammers Trump a lot on his facts or different things about Trump and goes a little softball or softballish on Hillary Clinton. But what I have to say is this: a lot of people, a lot of pundits on television have been saying, Trump needs to really be mindful that Hillary Clinton's a woman and it's going to be very tiptoey around how he kind of wants to counterpunch her. But I say this: they're both running for president of the United States. This is a very serious job. And if she can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen.
Right.
You don't need to meander around her just because she's a female. If you're not up to the task and you can't take a verbal attack from Donald Trump, then maybe you shouldn't be.
All right, let's go to Matt Kibbe, who is back, as I mentioned, at Hofstra. Hello, Matt.
Hey, Steve. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you fine, and we see you more or less. So what's the atmosphere like out there?
So it's funny. I had a funny experience because we were trying to find the free speech zone to talk to various protesters, Gary Johnson and Jill Stein folks, and we got caught up in a big group of Jill Stein protesters who are literally pushed all the way out here. As far as I can tell, they weren't causing any trouble. So we're still looking for a free speech zone, but at least we're speaking.
That is so insane. First of all, I saw a report that Jill Stein was escorted off the premises. So if she wasn't invited and didn't belong there, that's pretty bizarre. But I want to put up, you talk about free speech zone. I've been looking at colleges with my son, and the whole thing is insane because I'll put something up on the screen right now, and I'll read it to you, Matt. Hofstra has provided a trigger warning to students who go to Hofstra, and there's the sign on the screen, and what it says is, the event conducted just beyond this sign may contain triggering and/or sensitive material. Sexual violence, sexual assault, and abuse are some topics mentioned within this event. If you feel triggered, please know there are resources to support you. What on earth is going on our college campuses, Matt?
Things have gotten a little crazy, and I think what's really happened is that small minority of sort of radical progressives that are afraid of free speech have sort of taken over college campuses. I can tell you on the outside of this debate, left, right, and center, people are trying to get speech. And you mentioned that Jill Stein was removed. I think it's a little outrageous with so much disintermediation happening in our lives, and a lot of that happening in our politics, that Gary Johnson and Jill Stein are not even allowed into the venue to talk to the press and provide an alternative perspective. Frankly, I think they should be on stage, but at very least, they should be able to talk to the press, and all the press are inside the perimeter, and we can't get in.
Yeah, that does seem a little bizarre, Noelle. I mean, I don't know why they couldn't come in and talk to the press and then afterward be in the spin room. I don't see any harm in that.
Well, it's kind of the irony in it is it's called free speech, and yet you won't even have Johnson and Stein, who even though one is at 10%, 4%, one's at 1%, they do have the right to express their views and say what they want to say, and it is kind of it's anti-patriotic, I guess you could say, to not even let them voice their views on, at least something. And the fact that Matt had said that, that Jill Stein or whatever had been pushed off the campus. I mean, this isn't, even though she's not going to win, it is free speech. So let her say what she needs to say and give her some coverage.
Matt, I know that security, I mean, I know they started closing roads around Hofstra, hours and hours and hours ago. The security obviously is so high. Are you satisfied with the level of security there, and anything else besides and that was a big thing to say with the safe zones and all that, but anything else stick out that we should know about?
If anything, I've been to both conventions this year, and the security at this debate is unlike anything I've ever seen before. I mean, they definitely have this place buttoned down. I just wish that peaceful protesters and alternative candidates had a voice, because we've seen this trend in American politics, going all the way back to Howard Dean, certainly Ron Paul, Barack Obama disrupting Hillary Clinton in 2008, the Tea Party. These are all alternative perspectives that I think make our political system more healthy. And unfortunately, this is it's more than a free speech zone. It's almost a speechless zone. And I just think that's un-American.
Well, let me tell you something I think is un-American and shouldn't be permitted anymore. We've seen Harry Reid, slander Mitt Romney 4 years ago. He didn't pay his taxes, which was a lie, and he laughed about it after the fact years later, said it worked, didn't it? He's taken the Koch brothers to task, slandering them left and right on the floor of the Senate. And that's the key here, on the floor of the Senate. Well, he did it today. I want to get that Harry Reid. Okay, we got it. He did it 181. He did it today to Donald Trump, again, from the floor of the Senate. Let's listen.
Donald Trump is a racist. Donald Trump doesn't believe the racist things he does and said are wrong. He says them with full intent to demean and to denigrate. That's who he is.
Shouldn't there be some kind of rule? Shouldn't there be some kind of limitation, Matt? I know we're talking about free speech, but to use the floor of the Senate to take on, people like I mentioned, first Romney, then the Koch brothers, and now Trump, call them a racist gratuitously. I just don't think that's right.
I actually think that rhetoric is exactly what fuels a lot of Donald Trump's support. They're so tired of this abusive race war, and there's a lot of people that are just tired of being called racist. But let's all agree that we should probably put a trigger warning on Harry Reid's lapel, because almost everything that comes out of his mouth offends me. Yeah, there you go. And Noelle, I can't stomach to look at the man anymore. He's disgusting to me. I'm sorry.
Well, it's beyond. These are taxpayer dollars that are supporting, any kind of U.S. senator, and he's on the floor. It's one thing to promote your candidate, which is great. It's another thing to actually, slander another person, another candidate. Look, calling someone a racist, that goes beyond, saying that he is a promoter of this or a promoter of that or whatever you don't like, criticizes policy. But a racist goes a little step further. And actually, there's no real evidence to even back any of that up.
Right.
So, fact check Harry Reid.
All right, we got a minute, so 20 seconds each. Matt, what do you think is going to happen tonight?
I think students do need a trigger warning. I think it's going to be a bloodbath. I think they're going to go after each other. It's going to be very negative. but it's probably going to make for good TV.
All right, Noelle?
I think it's going to be a flat line. I think both candidates are so, worried about upsetting and losing their temper that I think that it's going to be one big flat line.
Well, we shall see who is right. Was it Matt or was it Noelle? Thank you both. I appreciate it very much, folks. All right, next, Tom Tancredo, former Republican congressman from the great state of Colorado. And Colorado is now one of those states that are up for grabs, that are tied. Along with Pennsylvania and other battleground states that Trump is either tied in or leading. We'll talk to the former congressman about what he thinks might happen tonight, right here, if you stay where you are.